What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So today we're going to be looking at some of Batgirl's moves. We're going to be looking specifically at 11 of them that have been revealed over the course of the game. We've seen some of them in the 2020 gameplay trailer. We've seen some of them in the 2020 gameplay walkthrough, and the 2022 character reveal seems to confirm them. Even though the 2022 character reveal was heavily edited with a mixture of in-engine footage and some gameplay, I can tell you that most of what you saw in this recent reveal is actually in the 2020 gameplay. I've always argued that the 2020 gameplay is actually the game. It's the roughest version of the game that they've had, and they were able to show that. And today we're going to go ahead and do some comparative analysis, frame by frame, slow motion, and you're going to see some of them. Now, granted, some of the moves are not necessarily in that 2020 gameplay, but I still strongly believe that they are in the game because I'm going to do my best to show you how this is done in Unreal Engine. So that's going to be for the later part of this video where I actually close it out. So stay tuned, or I'll timestamp it for you so you can go there and see how this stuff is done with Unreal Engine. All right. So the moves that we're going to be looking at are kind of very interesting. Some of them are going to be takedowns, some of them are going to be beatdowns, but we're going to be looking at them, and if there's a counterpart that's already in gameplay existing, I'm going to make sure that I point that out for you. So number one is a silent takedown. We got to see this. Everybody already knows what these silent takedowns do, so I'm not going to sit here and actually talk too much about it. It's something that I feel gives you the option to be able to perform stealth as you're going through the game, and I'm sure that the developers probably have some of those in line for us. You also have knockdown takedowns, just like the Arkham games, where you can pretty much take down an enemy with a lot of noise. It does remove all of your stealth parameters nonetheless, and you can see that here Batgirl pretty much from some armor truck jumps on this one guy and takes her time, basically spins her tonfa and does a whole spin around, which is almost I guess it's just a little bit of an interesting animation. Well, she does a good job. I guess she stands up and whacks him in the face. Robin also had something like that as well, but instead he rolls his little staff over his neck, his bow staff, and then hits the enemy NPC as well and knocks them out. Now, number three is something that is in the same family. It's also some kind of a takedown, but this time it's a ledge takedown, and we got to see this from the 2020 reveal where Batgirl comes down from a ledge, uses her momentum, grabs one of the bad guys, and slams him into the ground. She doesn't use her tonfa in this particular methodology, and so we know that there are variations depending on maybe the height, depending on where you're from, or even another one that was shown in the first 2020 gameplay trailer where she's jumping down a ledge and uses her grapple to grab someone on the way down, turn them around, and slam it into the ground. I do not know if this one's available within the game, just like the other one that they showed us, but to be very fair, like I said, I think with a very high level of certainty that we're going to be seeing these moves within the game, because a lot of the cinematics and the way they actually put together the Gotham Knights game, and from what I've seen, I think they just pretty much did a lot of camera work within the engine, which is stuff that I'll explain towards the end of the video. All right, let's go and look up to number 4, which is more of her brawling ability, where she's able to just keep whacking bad guys with her tonfa baton combination. And to me, I thought this was actually the very best aspect of confirming that we already have a game in the making, because already you can see her in the gameplay of 2020 pretty much fighting these guys using very similar animations as well. I mean, she does a lot more spinning in the air, but I think that's because the person that's controlling the character is actually maybe dodging, trying to move to an area to a different character, and you can already see that in regard to what it is that she's doing. And followed up is her Batarang throw. Now, we haven't seen any gameplay footage for her since 2020, so we didn't get to see the Batarang throw, but we did see it in the DC Fandom event story trailer where they took some scenes and they showed her throwing her Batarang to some Talon heavy NPC. Now, in that particular video, I didn't make a video covering this. That's where I first actually showed everyone what Sequencer is able to do. So what I did in that video was I took some of the images and some of the video footage that they were, just using to roam around the world and the dungeons, and I slapped a picture into it in Unreal Engine that I actually did, and I just basically presented it, and nobody even knew what the difference was. All I did was I changed the colors to match what they have here, and it was actually something that eventually I showed some people the deep fake that I pulled off, and I thought it was actually a fun exercise just to kind of see if people could actually detect any changes that may have been there. And then another really cool move that she does is she uses her grapple to pull on someone, one of the enemies, and then she basically knocks them down. I don't know if this is necessarily a takedown. Maybe if their health is already low and you did something like this move, then you probably will get a takedown condition and you can pretty much just whack them. So she pulls them, she hits him in the leg where they tilt, and then whacks him in the neck, and it's pretty much a final whack kick that really just destroys them. And so it's pretty cool. And number 7 is this very cool Batarang toss that's pretty much a takedown in a sense. I think you probably have to have a condition for this where she just does that in the air and it just knocks all the regular enemy NPCs out. I don't know if it takes them all down. It might be one of those moves, but we notice here in this footage that the heavy enemy NPC, the armored one, doesn't fall down. He is staggered though nonetheless. And then you see the same thing in 2020. This move was also in the trailer, but the difference is the visual effects colors have changed. The visual effects colors now are pretty much purple to like a yellow, which I think they were probably trying to do to highlight the character. So you see in 2020 they had the purple one, and then in 2022 they decided to go with the yellow because those are Batgirl's colors. So in the final game, I don't know how this is going to come out from a visual effects perspective, which one they're going to go with. I thought the purple one was quite unique, but we'll see how they decide to go with that. And then number 8, we got to see in Blackgate Prison. Blackgate Prison, she pretty much does some kind of a ground pound, and it's also seeming like a powerful move that can knock out regular enemy NPCs just like the Batarang moves. And she jumps in the air and slams into the ground, causing a massive quake that sends everyone flying, like some sonic move that possibly comes from her, tonfa as well, which is some kind of high-tech gear if you were to ask me. And number 9 is a simple dodge. She's fighting against this enemy NPC that seems to have some kind of a mask, or some people have called it a muzzle, and she does a simple dodge. I think that's going to be one of the abilities for everyone. Everyone can just dodge. And then number 10 is some of her, combat takedowns that seem to have been shown in 2020, and you can see it all over here as well, where she pretty much hits the enemy NPC with a barrage. She jumps in the air, and then she uses her tonfa to finish him off. And there are different variations to me, it seems. They'll probably be the ones that finish off regular NPCs, and they'll be the ones that finish heavy NPCs, because you can see the difference clearly as to how this is done here. It's a more detailed animation in the 2022 character reveal that we got to see. And then we have one, and this one is some kind of an interesting takedown, and you can see that it's actually one that was done in the 2020 gameplay where somebody was controlling it, and you get to see it as well here in the 2022 reveal. She uses her baton, picks up one of their legs to trip them, and then uses her arm to pretty much do a clothesline, just basically whacking them in the neck. It's a neck chop, literally. I mean, if you watch the animation in slow-mo, you'll see that she is literally just whacking them in the neck, and it's pretty much a takedown. I mean, I don't know if you'd be willing to recover from that. Even if you are not, it doesn't take you down, you probably still want to stay on the ground a little bit, just because you want to figure out if she probably broke your throat or something. And then for the final move that she does in this barrage, I think this is one that is really cool. Haven't seen this in gameplay. This is one of those takedowns that I thought, man, that's super acrobatic for somebody like her, where, Nightwing is a really acrobatic one, but she seems to use her grapple a lot. And this is a double grapple takedown. I think an enemy in the air that's launched to her, because if you notice, Nightwing launches this enemy to her in this particular footage, and she grabs him with her Batarang in the air. She kicks him once, grabs him again, and wham, kicks him again. That to me is actually pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing that within the game. I think we're going to be seeing it done in slow motion. You're going to see multiple cameras, just like we've seen the other takedowns for the other characters. All right, now, how are these high resolution, high edited gameplay, whatever, how are they actually done, and how are they harvested within the game? The very first thing I want to point us to is a game developer conference video. In 2016, Epic Games first unveiled what they call Sequencer within their engine. Sequencer is a video editing tool that is inside the Unreal Engine. You don't have to capture the footage, or you don't have to do anything weird for you to go ahead and make your gameplay footage. No, you can literally capture the footage of your game in the engine, and you can then pull it out to the sequencer software, which is just another window within the engine, and you can start to gather all of that footage, and then you can do post-production later on and edit and do all that in another video software should you choose to. Now, Sequencer has a small editor, but many people don't necessarily like it because it's quite primitive, and it's understandable. It's an additional piece of software inside the already powerful Unreal Engine. So this game developer conference video shows shows the developers of Ninja Theory, who made Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and they brought this particular feature to show a bunch of developers in real time. So they pulled out their game, a slice of their game, Hellblade, and they were showing them how they manipulate a lot of things like their camera rigs, how they use different cameras, different shots, different lenses, all within the engine to be able to capture different places within the game. I think people have been so skeptical about developers presenting the edited and high resolution footage as the game, and then when the game comes out, the game doesn't look like what they already saw, and that's because companies use this for the longest time to fool a lot of people. It was just the truth. But in Unreal Engine, which Gotham Knights is being developed in, I have a very high confidence that everything we've seen from those gameplay footage reveals or character trailers are in the game. The only thing now is how the quality is going to show up at the end of the day. So to me, I'm quite convinced that I can pre-order this game, and everything that I've seen so far is what I'm gonna get. Not saying that the game is gonna be good, I'm just saying I already know what I'm getting. So when I see the contention of people saying, oh, you know, there's no need to get excited about highly edited gameplay footage, the truth is it is edited gameplay footage, but it's edited gameplay footage that you get from the game. Literally, you open up the game, you go to a segment, you push play, and you push record, and you capture whatever it is you want. So I'm getting the game, and so far so good. They have been showing the game for 2 years straight. So compared to, say, Cyberpunk 2077, I think Gotham Knights is in a better position to be able to say, okay, for a gameplay reveal, for a gameplay assessment, we have a lot more information than we did for all of Cyberpunk. If you guys remember, the only thing that Cyberpunk had for the longest time was some gameplay reveal that they did in front of only journalists where a developer was actually playing the game. And then eventually they released 1 hour or 45-minute gameplay footage, which was done on PC. So that did not necessarily show the representation of the game and what it would look like on console. With Gotham Knights, the very first day, they put out pre-alpha footage so that you can see the roughest version of the game. And even though the Nightwing and Red Hood trailer, the gameplay trailer, was not necessarily the cleanest and the smoothest, it still was a representation of the game, so you know what you're getting. So your excitement level is based on all of the information that you have, but let us not diminish the technical truth that is actually within the game. Everything you're getting and everything you've seen is just the developers pretty much providing different levels of their presentation, some of them with the highest quality and some of them with just the base quality of the game. So me personally, in assessing all of these details, I think I'm more in a position where I'm probably going to go ahead and pre-order the game, because I've already said to myself, I usually don't pre-order games, but with the information and with all of what we got and my knowledge of Unreal Engine, I think I'm in a better position to do so. Now, I'm not telling you to pre-order the game. In fact, I would advise you not to do that, because in my work and my line of work as a YouTuber, I usually review games and talk about my opinions on them. So for me, this is built into my work. So at any rate, my disappointment is not going to be built on, say, my pocket or my enjoyment. It's going to be built on how I interact with the game and the community here. So this is a very interesting dichotomy that we must make. And I'm sorry that this video took a long time. All of this technical stuff really does span hours and hours and hours if you really want to get into the meat of things. But I recommend that you watch the video. I will leave a link for you so that you can see how cinematics can be made within the engine, and you can pretty much go ahead and make a better informed decision yourself. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys. Hopefully we'll talk very soon. Peace out.